What happened to Pablo Escobar's money after his death? Pablo Escobar remained one of the wealthiest and most powerful men in history more than 2 decades after his death. He was a drug lord who made insane amounts of money every day. Many people are interested in Pablo Escobar's money and where it went after his death. How much money did he hide? Stay tuned until the end to find out the answers to all the questions that have been buzzing in our heads for a long time. The king of cocaine was the son of a poor Colombian farmer, but by the age of 35, he was one of the world's wealthiest men. Despite his humble origins, Pablo Escobar became the leader of the Medellin Cartel, which controlled 80% of the global cocaine market. In 1991, Escobar surrendered to authorities and was sentenced to 5 years in prison on a variety of charges, but struck a deal with Colombian President Cesar Gaviria to avoid extradition in exchange for the ability to be housed on his own self-built prison, La Cátedra. When authorities attempted to transfer Escobar to a more standard holding facility in 1992, he escaped and went into hiding, sparking a nationwide manhunt. As a result, the Medellin Cartel dissolved, and Escobar was killed by Colombian National Police in his hometown a day after his 44th birthday in 1993. Some illegal activities that some people engage in to get rich quickly include drug trafficking and money laundering, and Pablo Escobar is one of them. However, it is a risky gamble because governments are consistently on the lookout for such individuals. In Colombia, drug lords have been constantly at odds with authorities. Pablo Escobar's money from his trade is still being discovered today. Since he didn't trust banks, the crime boss hid most of his wealth in unusual places such as barrels under fields and behind walls. And for decades after his death, people have been uncovering these hidden spots to the point where even his nephew discovered $18 million of Pablo's hidden wealth. Before going any further, how did he start his career in drug trafficking? Escobar started his criminal career when he was a teenager. He was selling false diplomas, forging report cards before selling stereo equipment, and stealing tombstones to resell. He later began stealing cars, which resulted in his first arrest in 1974. He was involved in the Marlboro Wars, which he made a name for himself in Colombia's smuggled cigarette market. This experience helped him in becoming a well-known drug smuggler. In the mid-1970s, he founded a criminal organization that grew into the Medellin Cartel. As the Medellin Cartel made enormous wealth, its leader became incredibly rich. For 7 years, Forbes included Escobar on its list of the world's wealthiest people. He owned private planes, mansions, and even a prison. He had so much money that he had to keep it in warehouses and hide it in fields because it was simply impossible for him to spend it. Pablo Escobar became wealthy and powerful in Colombia, but he had higher goals. Escobar was a philanthropist in some ways. He expanded social programs for the poor, built hospitals and stadiums, and even sponsored local soccer teams. According to some sources, he aspired to be president. However, due to his criminal activity, he was forced to resign. Unsurprisingly, the person who forced him to resign was assassinated. Pablo Escobar was apparently worth $30 billion at the time of his death in 1993. His lavish lifestyle included private planes, luxurious homes, and extravagant parties. In the late 1980s, he reportedly offered to pay off his country's $10 billion debt in exchange for immunity from extradition treaties. Despite his best efforts, Escobar was unable to spend all of the money, and much of it was stored in random locations. According to his brother, about 10% or $2.1 billion was written off each year because it was eaten by rats or destroyed by the elements. In some cases, it was simply lost. His cartel, the Medellin Drug Cartel, was extremely powerful, supplying roughly 80% of cocaine in America at its peak. Every day, his cartel smuggled 15 tons of cocaine into the United States of America. He was always on the run because the authorities were after him. He once offered the Republic of Colombia $10 billion in exchange for a full pardon for his crime. He once burned $2 million to keep his daughter warm while on the run, and he wrote off $500 million as spoilage every year. At its peak, the cartel was earning more than $70 million a day. Every week, he made about $240 million from his illegal trades. He earned so much money, but the question is, where did he manage to hide it? When it comes to his wealth, first his liquid assets, which include his cars, money, mansion, and clothes, among other physical material items. Following his death, the Colombian government inherited a sizable portion of the drug lord's fortune. The authorities also made his family sign over any liquid assets they had left behind. Furthermore, the government seized funds easily tracked into his close associates. Some of his money and assets were also acquired by his rivals. The Cali Cartel and the Los Pepes demanded payment for their assistance in bringing the kingpin down. The family was forced to sign over any liquid assets left by the government by the two groups. Members of the cartel stole assets and money money from the family. While hiding or destroying the enormous sum of money was one issue, the brothers also had to deal with a simpler issue, neatly organizing the banknotes. According to Roberto Escobar, the Medellin cartel spent an estimated $2,500 per month on rubber bands used to keep bill stacks together. The second category includes all of the money he stashed in secret locations such as underground caves, behind walls, and in the jungle. Some members of the drug lord's cartel also looted the remaining funds for personal gain. They wished to maintain financial stability following the death of their leader. His immediate family survived on the little money that remained after his death. The drug lord did not have a specific sum of money for his children in the event of his death. However, two of his siblings, Roberto and Alba Marina, had some access to his estate. After the children ran out of money, his son Sebastian asked his aunt Alba to retrieve $60 million from a hidden location. Alba returned and stated that there was very little money left. Sebastian claimed the money was stolen from him by his aunt. He also claimed that his uncle Robert betrayed the family by writing a book full of false claims for personal gain. Due to security concerns, the drug lord's immediate family relocated across multiple countries. They eventually settled in Argentina, where they led a middle-class lifestyle. While Escobar was still alive in November 1989, someone dug up $5.3 million that had been buried in 3 plastic cans. Another person discovered $26 million and 1.5 kilograms of gold bars. Later that year, someone else discovered $6 million in the jungle where Escobar had established several cocaine factories, and $10 million was discovered hidden at his Hacienda Napoles ranch, which had been converted into some sort of museum. In 2015, 65-year-old Jose Mariana Cartolos discovered $60 million in several large blue containers while digging irrigation trenches on his family's land. The funds were thought to be part of the drug lord's fortune. Cartolos handed over the cash to the authorities. For surrendering the money, he received a $3,000 grant from the Colombian government. In 2020, headlines reported that Pablo Escobar's money had been discovered inside a wall of one of his homes. His nephew, who discovered it, claimed that it was worth about $18 million and that a vision had told him exactly where to look for the money. He didn't hide much money in the banks, because banks wouldn't want to keep his money in the first place, and Pablo didn't trust them to begin with. A television show called Finding Escobar's Millions premiered in November 2017. The documentary series was about finding any remaining money the drug lord may have hidden. In the show, 2 ex-CIA agents went to Colombia on a mission to find the millions of dollars he buried. They used cutting-edge technology to locate any hidden cash. Despite the fact that the Colombian government was celebrating, many Colombians mourned his death. Pablo Escobar is still a well-known figure. There is a well-known Colombian TV series, El Patron del Mal, or a Netflix series, Narcos, that tells the story of 2 American Drug Enforcement Agency agents who worked on the Escobar case for years. There are still billions of dollars stashed away on Escobar's properties. The trick is simply locating them. But even if this is possible, there are risks. For example, the same people who discovered the safe in Escobar's former mansion in Florida also reported that not long after the announcement, someone stole property from the site, and Nicholas, who appears to be the only one who has had the best luck in locating Escobar's fortune, told the press that he had suffered an attack many years before from people who wanted his uncle dead. He was kidnapped by these people and tortured for several hours. 2 workers who were also kidnapped with him were tortured with a chainsaw. So even if you are interested in uncovering the Escobar fortune, keep in mind that there are far more dangerous people who are interested in finding it. Don't forget to share this video with your loved ones who live in Colombia, where most of his wealth is hidden. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up.